Heavy rain, possibly several inches, is expected to hit areas of Northern California already ravaged by deadly wildfires. While the rain could bring some much needed relief, the threat of flash floods and mudslides could complicate efforts to locate victims. Dozens of people have died in the Camp Fire. It's the deadliest in California's history. Hundreds more are still accounted for. CBS News correspondent Meg Oliver got a look from the air at the vast damage caused by the Camp Fire.
One of the most striking parts of flying above the deadliest fire in California history are the trees still standing while every home around them lies in ruins. It shows the power of the winds, pushing flames horizontally, consuming everything in its path. And now a new threat to this tinder dry land, flash floods.
Anytime that we have a fire and it burns the vegetation off, there's obviously a potential for mudslides. We've got a team that's coming to check the area, to let us know the highest potential.
4 inches are expected to fall over the next 3 days, adding to the misery.
Someday we'll know what started this fire and people here will begin to rebuild. For now, it's about the grief and this enormous sense of loss. Meg Oliver, CBS News, above Paradise, California.
CBS News correspondent DeMarco Morgan joins me now from Chico, California. DeMarco, the scale of the devastation there, especially right now during the holidays, what can you tell us right now about what's being done on the ground to help people get back on their feet?
There are a number of things that are being done. You actually have FEMA, who has been set up at the Chico Mall for the past couple of days, basically helping everyone get everything from the Social Security cards to their driver's license to speaking with insurance companies, you name it, even, speaking to banks. And you have some of the phone companies who have been there providing cell service and stuff. So there are a number of agencies that have been reaching out, everyone from the American Red Cross to private agencies like your churches, your schools, who have been reaching out, just basically trying to make sure that this community is getting a step, basically ahead of what has happened to them, this just big blow as a result of this massive fire. So much so that even at some of the hotels that our crews have been staying at, one that I've been staying at as well, people have been donating so much that now the hotels have signs on the door saying, hey, we can't take any more donations. So that's always a good thing when people are showing up and trying to help this community get back on their feet.
Well, I guess that's a small ray of hope and goodwill there. We know there are rains coming. Seems like good news, but could that actually help them contain the fire, or no, make it worse?
Well, Paul, it's 50-50 when you think about it. If you look at this map right here, this black line, this is the containment line. This is where they pretty much have the fire under control, but you still have hot spots here that firefighters have been fighting. So in that sense, the rain will help with the fire. But when you look at this line right here, this is the red fire line. This is where they do not have any control of this fire, where it's basically rugged terrain, so firefighters are pretty much having a difficult time getting in these areas. So the rain could help to a certain extent, but then you have mudslides that could cause a problem for this area. And also, when you look at Magalia and Concal, that's why authorities are saying, you may be going back to some of the evacuation zones where those alerts and evacuation orders have been lifted. You may have to evacuate again if things take a turn for the worse. My colleague, Meg Oliver, she said that this area could be receiving up to 4 inches of rain before it's all said and done. There's a flash flood watch that will go into effect Wednesday afternoon until Friday. So when you talk about the landowners and also county authorities, they're basically telling everyone to prepare again in this area. And this is what I've also learned. I just learned this a couple of minutes ago. They use wattles. That's to sort of keep the erosion and the water under control so you can prevent a mudslide in the event that the rain gets that bad. But like you said, it could help to a certain extent, but then it could also, damper things, especially when you talk about Paradise, where that's the area that received the most destruction. We've been calling it ground zero. 90% of the homes in that area have been pretty much washed out, but we still have people who are missing, people who are unaccounted for. So when you have those people who are out there, authorities who are searching for those victims, the rain could possibly wash away valuable DNA evidence. That is not good news for this community.
Certainly not. So what else can you tell us, though, about how the rain, the mudslides could impact the search for missing victims?
Yeah, just like that. If it washes away the DNA evidence, then there are some people who may never be located, because imagine, especially when your body has been burned, beyond recognition, and sometimes, they use your dental records or your teeth or whatever to identify you. If that's gone, if it gets caught up in a mudslide, it's a wrap for trying to identify you, and that's happened in the past where some people have never been identified. They go missing for years and years to come, and then they're presumed dead. So that's not what we're hoping will be the case, but again, it is a concern, a major concern for authorities now, because you still have a couple of hundred people who are still unaccounted for, and that list has been pretty much fluctuating because some people may have called into 911 and said, hey, I can't find my friend, I can't find my uncle, my family member, and they may have relocated or reunited, I should say, but never called back to authorities and gotten that name taken off the list. So the list is growing sometimes, and sometimes it'll come down. So again, it's just too many people still missing at this hour to be, taking a chance with any DNA evidence, but you can't protect yourself from Mother Nature.
Oh, DeMarco Morgan, thank you so much for your great reporting there on the ground.
You bet.